In the depths of worldly struggles, feelings of worthlessness can consume us. It's a heavy, suffocating weight that presses down on the heart, making every breath feel like a battle. You study tirelessly for an exam, pouring hours into preparation, only to see the result, failure. You muster the courage to start a business, investing your time, energy, and resources, only to watch it crumble before your eyes. Each setback feels like a confirmation of your deepest fears, that you're unlucky, that you're not good enough, that perhaps Allah doesn't care for you. These thoughts, like shadows, linger in the corners of your mind, growing darker when you're already battling depression or anxiety. It's in these moments that your confidence shatters and you begin to question your very existence. What's wrong with me, you ask? Why does nothing ever work out? Does Allah not see me? Does He not care? These questions echo in your heart, amplifying the sense of isolation and despair. But what you're feeling, this overwhelming sense of worthlessness, is not a reflection of your true value. It's a distortion, a trick of the mind and the whispers of Shaytan, designed to pull you away from the truth. The truth is that your worth is not measured by the world's standards, nor is it defined by your failures or successes. Your worth is inherent, bestowed upon you by Allah, the Creator who fashioned you with purpose and care. Yet, in the midst of hardship, it's easy to forget this. The world, with its relentless demands and fleeting measures of success, convinces us that we are only as valuable as our achievements. And when we fall short, as we inevitably will, we feel worthless. But this is the illusion of the dunya, the material world that deceives us into believing that our value is tied to what we have, what we do, or what we accomplish. The dunya is fleeting, temporary, and its standards are shallow. It cannot define you, nor can it determine your worth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in His infinite wisdom, reminds us of this truth through the Quran. He doesn't simply tell us, He asks us questions, rhetorical questions, that are meant to shake us awake, to pull us out of the fog of despair, and redirect our focus to what truly matters. These questions are not meant to teach us something new, but to remind us of what we already know, deep down, but have forgotten in the chaos of life. How could you think I have abandoned you? Allah asks. How could you believe you are worthless? These questions are a call to reflection, a gentle yet firm nudge to look beyond the immediate pain and see the bigger picture. They are a reminder that Allah's care for you has been constant, even when you couldn't see it. They are a challenge to your despair, a demand to reconsider the narrative you've been telling yourself. When Allah asks these questions, He is not seeking an answer from you. He is emphasizing a truth that you already know, but have allowed to be clouded by doubt and fear. He is reminding you of His presence, His love, and His countless blessings in your life. These rhetorical questions are like a mirror, reflecting back to you the reality of your situation, a reality that is far brighter and more hopeful than the one you've been dwelling in. They are a wake-up call, a divine intervention to pull you out of the spiral of negativity and redirect your gaze to the light. So, when you feel worthless, when the weight of failure and despair feels too heavy to bear, remember these questions. Let them echo in your heart and mind, breaking through the darkness like a ray of sunlight. How could you think Allah has abandoned you? How could you believe you are worthless? These questions are not just words, they are a lifeline, a reminder that your worth is not defined by the world, but by the one who created you, sustains you, and loves you beyond measure. When you feel abandoned, when the weight of the world makes you question your worth, it's important to pause and reflect on the journey of your life. Think back to the moments when you were most vulnerable, when you felt alone, and yet, somehow, you were never truly alone. Allah's care for you has been constant, even in the times when you couldn't see it. Consider the example of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who experienced profound loss and hardship from the very beginning of his life. His father passed away before he was even born, leaving him without the guidance and protection of a father figure. Yet Allah provided. His mother, Amina, was there to nurture and care for him in those early years. But then, she too passed away when he was just a child, leaving him an orphan in every sense of the word. Yet, Allah provided. His grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, took him in, offering love and protection. And when his grandfather passed away, his uncle, Abu Talib, stepped forward to care for him. At every stage of his life, even in his most vulnerable moments, Allah's protection was there, woven into the fabric of his existence. This is not just the story of the Prophet, peace be upon him. It's a reflection of Allah's mercy and care for all of us. Think about your own life. Even in your darkest moments, even when you felt utterly alone, there was always someone or something that carried you through. Maybe it was a family member, a friend, or even a stranger who showed you kindness when you needed it most. These are not coincidences. They are manifestations of Allah's care. He is Al-Wali, the protector, the one who ensures that you are never truly abandoned, even when it feels like you are. Now, let's talk about provision. There's a common misconception that success and worth are measured by material wealth. But the truth is, Allah's provision comes in many forms, and it's often more abundant than we realize. Take the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, as an example again. He began his life with nothing, no wealth, no inheritance, no material security. His parents didn't leave him a fortune, and for much of his early life, he lived in simplicity, even poverty. But Allah provided for him in ways that were far more valuable than material wealth. He was blessed with a righteous spouse, Khadijah, may Allah be pleased with her, whose love, support, and wealth were a source of comfort and stability for him. Through her, Allah provided not just material sustenance, but emotional and spiritual support as well. This is a profound reminder that provision isn't just about money or possessions. It's about the people Allah places in your life, the opportunities He creates for you, and the ways He sustains you even when you can't see a way forward. Scholars often highlight the story of Khadijah as an example of Allah's blessings through a righteous spouse. Her wealth was not just a material blessing, it was a means through which Allah supported the Prophet, peace be upon him, during some of the most challenging years of his life. But beyond that, her character, her faith, and her unwavering support were blessings that money could never buy. This teaches us that Allah's provision is multifaceted. It's not just about what you have in your bank account or the possessions you own. It's about the relationships that nourish your soul, the opportunities that help you grow, and the small everyday blessings that make life meaningful. Think about your own life. Even if you don't have everything you want, even if you've faced financial struggles or setbacks, there are still blessings to be counted. Maybe you have a roof over your head, food on your table, or people who care about you. Maybe you have your health, your faith, or the ability to wake up each day and try again. These are all forms of provision, and they are all signs of Allah's care for you. The Prophet, peace be upon him, didn't have a house of his own when he first married Khadijah, but Allah provided him with one. He didn't have a steady income, but Allah ensured that he had enough to live comfortably. These blessings may seem small in the grand scheme of things, but they are profound reminders that Allah's care is in the details. He doesn't abandon you to struggle alone. He provides for you in ways that are often subtle but deeply meaningful. So, when you feel like you have nothing, when the weight of financial struggles or material lack makes you question your worth, remember that Allah's provision is not limited to the material. It's in the relationships that sustain you, the opportunities that come your way, and the small, everyday blessings that remind you of His presence. Your worth is not tied to what you have or don't have. It's tied to the fact that Allah has chosen to care for you, to provide for you, and to guide you through every stage of your life. And that is a blessing far greater than any material wealth. When life throws its hardest challenges at you, when you fail an exam, when your business collapses, when you face a loss that feels insurmountable, it's easy to fall into despair. In those moments, Shaytan whispers in your ear, feeding you lies that amplify your pain. You're a failure, he says. You have no luck. Allah has abandoned you. These whispers are dangerous because they distort your perception, making you focus solely on the negatives while blinding you to the blessings that still surround you. It's in these moments that you must fight back, not with anger or frustration, but with gratitude and remembrance. Gratitude is the antidote to despair. It's the act of shifting your focus from what you've lost to what you still have. It's about recognizing that even in the midst of hardship, there are blessings to be counted. Maybe your business failed. but you still have your health. Maybe you didn't pass the exam, but you have the opportunity to try again. Maybe you've lost something precious, but you still have people who love and support you. These blessings may seem small compared to the weight of your struggles, but they are profound reminders that Allah has not abandoned you. He is still there, still providing for you, still guiding you through the storm. The key is to train your mind to see these blessings, even when they're overshadowed by pain. This is not easy. It requires effort and intentionality. It means consciously choosing to focus on the positives, even when the negatives seem overwhelming. It means reminding yourself that every loss is accompanied by a gain, even if you can't see it yet. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught us this lesson through his own life. He faced unimaginable hardships, loss, rejection, persecution, yet he never lost sight of Allah's blessings. He remained grateful, even in the most difficult moments, because he understood that gratitude is not just a feeling, it's a choice. It's a way of life that shifts your perspective and opens your heart to the countless ways Allah is caring for you, even when it doesn't feel like it. This is where the power of reflection comes in. Take a moment to sit quietly and think about your life. Think about the times when you felt like everything was falling apart, and yet somehow you made it through. Think about the people who showed up for you, the opportunities that came your way, the small miracles that kept you going. These are not accidents. They are signs of Allah's mercy. They are reminders that even in your darkest moments, He is there, guiding you, protecting you, and providing for you. When you reflect on these blessings, you begin to see that your struggles are not the end of the story. They are just one chapter in a much larger narrative, a narrative that is ultimately shaped by Allah's love and care for you. This doesn't mean that your pain is insignificant or that you should ignore it. It simply means that you don't have to let it define you. You can acknowledge your struggles while still holding on to hope, because hope is a form of faith. It's the belief that Allah's plan for you is greater than your pain, that His mercy is more powerful than your despair. And this hope is what carries you forward, even when the road ahead seems uncertain. Now let's talk about the importance of shifting your perspective. When you're faced with a challenge, it's natural to focus on what went wrong. But what if, instead of dwelling on the failure, you asked yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? This shift in perspective doesn't erase the pain, but it transforms it into something meaningful. It turns your struggles into opportunities for growth, your failures into lessons, and your hardships into stepping stones towards something greater. This is the essence of resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity, not because you're unaffected by it, but because you've chosen to see it as part of a larger purpose. And this purpose is rooted in your relationship with Allah. When you trust in His plan, when you believe that He is with you even in your darkest moments, you find the strength to keep going. You begin to see that your worth is not tied to your successes or failures, but to your connection with Him. This connection is what gives you hope, even when everything else feels hopeless. It's what reminds you that you are never alone, that Allah's care for you is constant and unwavering. So, when feelings of worthlessness creep in, when despair threatens to overwhelm you, remember this: your worth is not defined by the world's standards. It's not measured by your achievements, your possessions, or your social status. Your worth is inherent, bestowed upon you by Allah, the Creator who fashioned you with purpose and care. And this worth can never be taken away from you, no matter how many times you fail or how many challenges you face. The key is to hold on to this truth, even when it feels distant. Remind yourself of Allah's blessings, no matter how small they may seem. Reflect on the ways He has cared for you in the past and trust that He will continue to do so in the future. Choose gratitude over despair, hope over hopelessness, and faith over fear. Because in the end, it's not about what you have or don't have, it's about your relationship with Allah. And as long as you have that, you have everything you need. So take a deep breath, lift your head, and keep moving forward. The road may be difficult, but you are never walking it alone. Allah is with you every step of the way.